Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for making the really long walk to this end of the event center. I see those people going by on the scooters that work here, and I'm like, I need to get one of those. That's really good. This is Demystifying Microsoft 365 Education. I am Frank Ciappone. If you didn't expect me or expect this session, and this is a good time to up and go somewhere else. So a little bit about me before we get started, and I want to learn a little bit about you. I've been at Microsoft for 10 years now, almost all of it in education. So I've seen quite a bit of change, not only in the education landscape and the technology that you folks are implementing in schools and putting into classrooms, but Microsoft's approach in terms of the technology and services we're providing to education too as well. So been around the block a little bit. This is, however, my first Ignite session that I'm delivering. So I'm really excited to see this is not an education event for us, but I'm really excited to see so many education folks here attending. So I do have 3 kids currently in college, so I will take all the sympathy vibe that you guys want to give me while you're sitting out there. And I just raised my hand, so let's do a little bit of that. If I could hear from you guys and ladies, how many folks here represent a K-12 institution by a show of hands, please? All right, and how many folks represent higher ed then? All right, a little bit skewed toward a higher ed. Okay, so the first part of this presentation might feel a little K-12-ish, but the back end of it will be all about Microsoft 365 and the things we offer for all schools, whether they're higher ed or K-12. And then at the end, at the beginning, I'll talk a little bit about how we see the education landscape, some research that we did, the changing job market, things like that. And then I'll slide into what Microsoft offers to help you guys meet some of those challenges. And then hopefully we'll have time for questions. This is not going to be a licensing discussion or anything like that. I can't answer any of those questions. But if you want to know what goes into a license, I can answer some of that. Talk about what's free, what's in the different plans, things like that. So, okay. So I would like to start, if I could, with really what's at the center of everything in education, and that's the student itself, right? Because that's why we're all here, is to ensure for student success, whether they're in K-12 or higher ed. And the students in classrooms today, they view the world very differently than students of a generation ago, and that's because they have to, right? The world that they live in today is changing faster than at any point in its history. And so the way they view the world is this integrated blend and undetectable to them of digital and physical. Some people call it phygital. And they don't remember a time in their lives when they weren't connected by Wi-Fi. They don't distinguish between themselves when they're talking to themselves face-to-face, like we are here today, or virtually online. In fact, I'm always amazed when any of my kids picks up that rare phone call they get from a friend and this immediately starts talking to them as if they've been having this ongoing conversation with them for hours. Because in reality, they have been having this ongoing conversation for hours with them, whether it's either through Snapchat or Skype or virtually online while they're gaming. They have this ongoing dialogue with their friends nonstop. And so that's their reality, whether it's digital or in person. Students today don't distinguish between doing work in the classroom and doing work at home or virtually. It's all blended to them. So for them, students don't learn how to use technology. They use technology to learn. And so it really is awe-inspiring for me as I look at what students are doing today and how they embrace technology, embrace their digital world, and then leverage it in ways that I never even imagined when I was a student, right? So one of those examples I saw recently on Facebook not too long ago was a 17-year-old student from the Philippines. And she explained in a video in 3 minutes the theory of relativity and the equivalence of frame references in a way that even I could understand. And she won a prize for that. And then I was in awe when I heard the story of students in Kansas, elementary students in Kansas, who connected with students in Kenya and talked to them about a water crisis they were having because their well was poisoned. And so they spun up this team project between the two schools halfway around the world And by the end of the school year, they had solved that water crisis by using Skype and getting sponsorships and getting some other people involved as well. So it really is awe-inspiring. And then truly awe-inspiring what the kids not too far from here in Parkland did after that unspeakable tragedy, where they organized themselves via social media, they got their message out, and they launched a movement. This is what kids are capable of today. And they embrace technology, and for them, it really is a tool for them to enable what they want to do. It increases their reach, and it amplifies their impact. And so we stand in awe of what students are doing today inside and outside of the classrooms. And that technology is meant to support them in their journey, whatever that journey might be. And so what this session today is about is how Microsoft can support you in helping them along that journey. So we live in an amazingly fabulous time for technology progress, right? It's the way people interact with each other, the way they socialize, the way they work together. And it's changing the world rapidly. By the time the kids of the class of 2030 graduate from their school, the world will be a very different place than it is today. By that time, there will be major disruptions in the job market, mostly due to automation, right? So almost 50% of existing jobs will just dry up because of automation. And then jobs associated with lower levels of education attainment will disappear. Some 11 million by the time the class of 2030 graduates from school. And so what are the skills they're going to need to be successful in that job market, right? So research shows that they're going to need skills associated with higher cognitive levels, right? So things like problem solving, critical thinking, communication. They're going to need have a greater reliance on social emotional skills like empathy, collaboration, teamwork, things like that. And so by the time these kids graduate from school in the class of 2030, the world will be very, very different. And they need to have different skill sets to meet those needs. So what does this mean for education? Well, we know that it's never been more critical or more important to put students at the center of their own learning. We also know that when we do that, when we provide students with personalized learning, that they achieve better scores, that they have a better academic growth and better cognitive growth as well. And it's clear that we must fulfill on the promise of technology in education to help deliver personalized learning to students. Now, this is not news to anybody in this room. It's certainly not news to teachers who've known for a long time that personalized learning is the key to a more rapid, accelerating education growth, right? But the challenges for teachers are that they just don't have time and they just don't have resources to deliver the personalized learning that they want to deliver. Some 30% of teachers say that they want to deliver personalized learning, but they can't. For students, like up to 40% of them say that they don't feel like they're receiving personalized learning. And most of that centers around tailored content just for them, personalized feedback from their instructor, as well as the pace of learning. 70% of students we surveyed in this class of 2030 research tell us that they're not satisfied with the pace of learning that they're currently getting from their schools. So in order for instructors to really be able to provide personalized learning, we really have to free them up and unshackle them from the day-to-day burdens of classroom management, being able to easily get content and customize it for the students' needs, be able to meet the needs of each of their individual students, being able to be connected to communities of practice to be able to improve instruction, being able to give personalized feedback because they're able to quickly assess and get insights on their students and assess what their needs are. So for students today, or for teachers today, all of those things are important to be able to deliver personalized learning. For IT, while we know there's never been a greater need to hasten the transformation to personalized learning, there's also never been greater opportunity for us as IT to be able to deliver on that promise. because of advances or affordability of technology, we're able to get more devices and more technology in the hands of students that could provide more services that they need to really have learning impact. Because of advances in cloud computing and machine learning and artificial intelligence, you, as IT, have the ability to have more visibility of your tech landscape, be able to manage it easier, and be able to do so without inflicting a heavy burden on cost or your time, right, or your resources. So there's never been a better time to really deliver on this promise of what technology can do. And when we think about some of the things that what technology can do, as consumers, right, every day we use technology to gain these insights and get information at our fingertips. And we all have it right here in our pocket, right, with our telephones. Like, for example, yesterday when I left here, I called up Uber, and I knew right away from my phone that Jill was going to be picking me up inside a red Ford SUV. I knew she was going to arrive in 2 minutes. I also knew that Jill was a little bit of a conversationalist, is what my app told me yesterday. So I wasn't quite prepared for that after a long day of talking to a lot of people here at Ignite, but so I got ready for that, and sure enough, as soon as I got into that Uber with Jill, she started chatting me up about her new job, about why she lives in Orlando. I got the whole spiel. And I had all that information before I even stepped into the car, which is just simply amazing. And then when I got home and I wanted to my hotel and I wanted to eat, again, I went here and I got the information I needed. What are the closest restaurants? I didn't want to walk too much because I was tired. I've been walking all day, right? I wanted to know where was the good restaurants around me. I got the information based on that. So all that information was right here on my phone and right at my fingertips to help me make decisions. Then when I got back and I wanted to put my feet up and watch a movie, I turned on Netflix, and it gave me a bunch of lists of recommended movies for me because it knows me. It knows what I did in the past. It knows what I like. It knows what movies I've watched. So it gave me information based on my own personal tastes. So really, as consumers, we're used to this every day, right? This is something we all do, and it's been around for some time. And businesses are leveraging this kind of analytics and insights to drive real business decisions and grow their business as well. We do this at Microsoft all the time, where we watch how you guys use the services, and we make adaptations based on that, right? But have we made that transformation yet to students? Are we able to provide students with that kind of insights as institutions that can help them along their learning journey? And if I had to be honest with you, I would say no, we haven't. We haven't quite gotten there yet. Some schools are already doing this. Many schools have plans to do this. It's all of our aspirations to do this. And we'll get there someday where, as students, the school, the institution, knows your past performance. They know everything. They know who you are as a student, and they provide you with the services you need to be the best student you can be. And it's an exciting time. And so as we think about where the world is going and future technology, and we think about, are we closing the skills gap? Are we providing the students with the skills they need to be successful in the future? What are we doing about job opportunities and the opportunities for growth in the future? These are huge challenges facing education. We're not going to answer any of those questions here today. We're not even going to get close. But we know these things are the things that you guys are thinking about. This is what Microsoft is thinking about as we look out at education and say, what's happening there? And it starts with, well, where's technology going? Where's the job market going? How do we better prepare our students for that future? And what's the technology in our classrooms that's going to provide that? And so everything later on in this presentation, it's not going to solve those big problems or answer those questions, but it's all designed with that in mind. So that's just one of the things that I wanted to mention to you. I also want to mention to you is our why. Why are we here? Why is Microsoft here? Why are we talking to you about education? Why do we invest in it? Why do we offer you the prices we offer you, right? If without answering the why, what I'm about to show you after this doesn't really matter. So fundamentally, we believe that every student has the ability to learn, and so we build tools specifically for that. We believe that every student everywhere has the right to learn, and they should have access to technology and the things that they need to learn, right? And so we believe that every student everywhere has the right to dream big, and I want to be the next Satya Nadella. I want to be the next Katherine Johnson, I want to be the next Stephen Hawking. This is a core belief for us at Microsoft, and we really believe that we can empower every student and every institution to achieve more through our technology. And so the key to us and the path for us is all about education, because we know if people can learn, they can grow. And that is core to our mission as well. And in fact, ever since Satya has taken over as CEO, we've adopted this growth mentality, which, by the way, came from education, right? From a research done in Stanford by Dr. Carol Dweck, about how people who invest in learning every day can grow and improve and get better. And institutions and organizations can do this too. So Microsoft has adopted this, and we live it, we breathe it, but this is what you guys have done since your very existence, right? This is what you do in education, is you try to instill this growth mindset into students in every class, in every school, every single day. And it's a noble cause, right? And so that's why Microsoft is investing in education. We see this as a path to answer the big questions facing and the big challenges facing society. Education is the path to how we solve poverty and health issues across the world. We know that. But we have problems and challenges in education itself that we have to solve as well. How do we get everybody educated? How do we get them, how do we close the gender gap in many countries? Things like that. So education, Microsoft invests in education as an investment in future economic growth and prosperity, certainly. And we invest in building tools that help people achieve more, especially students. You know, tools like our immersive reader, which helps people of all capabilities and abilities improve their reading skills. It's why we offer Office 365, which is the most used productivity platform on the planet, to every school, every student, every teacher, every staff around the world for absolutely no cost. It's our investment in education to ensure we live up to this mission, because we do see that as the path forward in terms of how do we solve these big global problems. So all that aside, we're flying up here at 10,000 feet. Let's go dive right in. How many folks in the room are currently using Office 365? That's good. Thank you for that. How many people are currently on Microsoft 365? And how many people know what the difference is? Yeah, okay. So Office 365 is a part of Microsoft 365. And I have a slide to show you that in a little bit. But Office 365 A1, which is our most basic plan of Office 365, is the plan that we offer everybody for free. And so I saw a lot of hands come up. So I assume you guys all know what's in here. And so really, this is your email with Exchange and your SharePoint Online and your free Office Online apps, which, by the way, I don't know how long you guys have been on Office 365, but the investments we've made in the online apps have been phenomenal over the last 5 years. They've grown. If you haven't used Word Online, PowerPoint Online, Exchange Online recently, dive in, because it really is amazing. And so really for what students want to do today, and my kids, my own kids including, they use the online apps, and it's everything they need. The most recent addition to Office 365 is Microsoft Teams. And this is really, I love Teams, and I'm not going to get too much into product today, right? If you want to see a Teams demo, come by our booth, because we'll give you a Teams demo. We'll have a session later this week called Transforming Classroom Time, which we'll go deeper into Teams. But really, it's, one of the complaints that I heard about Office 365 when we first launched it was it's very confusing for the end user. They don't know where to get the things they need to use. And Teams is kind of the answer to that. Teams brings everything that's great about Office 365, all the tools and the apps that you want to use, and lets your groups, your team, combine them and put them into a team, configure it in a way that's useful for them. So it really is about surfacing just the tools you need. So it's pretty cool. So these are all the things that are included for free, including Skype and your ability to audio, video record and things like that, and social networking. So there's a lot in the free stuff in Office 365. And it's what everything else is based off of, right? In Microsoft 365, our whole pricing plan, it all starts with this is free. And that's not going anywhere, and that's not changing, and that's an investment on Microsoft's part that that, that we'll continue to make. So then what do we add when it comes to Microsoft A3 and Microsoft 365 A5, right? So if A1 is the free stuff that everybody gets, then A3 is the stuff you pay for, right? But it's based on that, the bottom of that stack is the free stuff on Office 365 A1, right? And so what do you get when you pay for A3? And so really, within Office 365, you get a couple of cloud app securities. You get Skype meeting broadcast, which is, I know is, was a really highly requested feature within A3. The cool thing about Skype meeting broadcast and Teams meeting broadcast, which is coming soon, by the way, is that in education, this is another example of our investment in education, you don't get that on the enterprise side. That comes in A5. So we pulled that in closer into the A3 model for education. So that's cool. And then along with that Office stuff, you also get the clients. You get the Pro Plus, you get Office 365 Pro Plus. So those are the difference in Office 365. You get the A3 plan of Office. And then when you add the Microsoft 365 features, the other components, it's your Windows licenses, it's your EMS E3 plan with those things you see on the right. And what a lot of people don't know is Minecraft Education Edition, right? That comes with your license of A3. That's a big deal for K through 12. It may not be for higher ed, but hey, if you're higher ed and you want to play Minecraft, you're licensed to do so, and you could jump right in. So, and then we also give you within that A3 all of the Windows CALs, productivity CALs, and the server licenses that you were used to when you were using your on-prem. If you were purchasing the education desktop on-premise licenses. So there's a lot in that A3. It's got a lot of the core stuff in there. And then A5 is the premium stuff that I won't go into too much detail around, but really it increases our security management, our threat protection, analytics, Power BI, stream video plan. It's the premium model. It's A5. And there may be some people in your organization that require that kind of level. And so really when you, one of the great things about Microsoft 365 is you can mix and match plans, right? You don't have to put everybody on A5 and you don't have to put everybody on A3. You can mix and match depending on the folks who need it. So you have a quick question?
Yeah, do you know where the remote desktop service is going to fit?
I don't know that, but maybe if you swing by the booth, there might be someone there that can answer that question for you. Remote desktop services within here. I'll remember that one. Okay. I want to talk about the student use benefit because really there is nothing like it out there, right? And the student use benefit started, I think it started in 2014, right? Is when, and it started with just Office. And I was on the Office team at that time in Office Education. And it was, hey, purchase Office 365 Pro Plus for your faculty and staff, and you get Office 365 Pro Plus licenses for all your students. And it was an amazing deal. And then we just kept adding on to it, right? And so now not only do we have an Office student benefit, but we have a Windows student benefit, and we have an EMS student benefit. And so again, the rule is written on there, right? When a customer licenses 100% of their knowledge worker count, and I'll explain what that is, for a qualifying product. I won't explain what that is. It's basically A3, I think. And then you get your students at no charge. There is a ratio now, 1 to 40, which again, when you look out in the marketplace and you see other student benefits, it's 4 times what others are offering there. So that 1 to 40 is really a great ratio for most of those products, right? Some products is 1 to 15. Minecraft is a little bit different, but I'll use Intune as an example. If you buy Intune for education licenses for your faculty and staff, you can cover all of your student devices as well with Intune for education and your student users. So it really is quite a bargain. And so if you want to know more about the student use benefit, then talk to your licensing specialist or your account manager because they can help you with that. It really is the most affordable way for you to cover your entire campus. And so what is a knowledge worker? And so I'm going to be totally candid here. There's no, like, when you see those examples, we don't have a list of people that says, yeah, this is a knowledge worker, this is a knowledge worker, this is a knowledge worker, because it's all different. It's who of your employees, your full-time employees, your part-time employees, really leverage Office 365 and Microsoft 365 for the good of the institution, for work they're doing with the institution, right? And so just some examples there, right? Your full-time and part-time staff, your instructors, your faculty members, your staff members, adjunct and substitute teachers, librarians, public safety, folks that are really using the service. And if you think of the client, and the capabilities that they need to really do their jobs, those are the knowledge workers. And then the light user examples, and here's just a few on the right, those folks that you think, you know what, they need access to email, they need access to the services, they need access to Office Online, those don't go into your count of your knowledge workers, and you provide them with the Microsoft 365 or the free A1. So between this combination of Microsoft 365 A3 or A5 and Office 365 A1, the free service, depending on their roles, you can cover your entire institution for a pretty cost-effective price, right? So I am just whizzing along here. We're going to end up a little bit early, I think. I'll take some questions if you want. You could take a picture of this if you want. This is a crazy slide, but I kind of like it. And at first I was thinking about, I'm not going to show this, but then I wanted to, because I wanted to show, and I might actually just jump down here for a minute. I wanted to show really what comes into each package, and then a little bit of what that means, right? So when you talk about collaboration and learning within Office, right, and you see all the check marks in A1, there's only one that's not checked, and that's the Office Pro Plus client. So when you're talking about collaboration and learning tools, Exchange for email and calendaring, Teams, Skype, Yammer, OneDrive, SharePoint, Groups, Planner, it's all in there, right? And for schools, there's Teams with classrooms, there's PLCs, there's Staff Hub, OneNote Class Notebook, Sway, all of these things are in there, and they're all checked within A1. The only thing that's not is Office Pro Plus. So there's a lot. And then just go on down the list, right? When you talk about accessibility tools, we give you the best accessibility tools we got across the board. Learning tools, the accessibility checker, Office Lens, dictation, translator. It's all in A1, A3, and A5. So that's why I like this slide, because you could look at it and say, well, what do I need? Do I need legal hold and discovery? Yeah, I sure do. Everybody gets it. Do I need advanced e-discovery, customer lockbox, advanced data governance? Then you're looking at A5, right? So this is good. And you go on down the list and you can see management and security. And usually around management and security, the more secure you need your stuff to be, then that's where the premium offers, the A3 and the A5 comes in. But on down the list, there's a lot that comes in, especially with Office. And then within Windows, it's around Windows Defender. There's different plans around Windows Defender, Device Guard, Credential Guard, things like that. And the same with Azure. Intune for Education comes with all of the Microsoft 365 ones. And Intune for Education, by the way, if there's some confusion around Intune for Education, again, stop by the booth if you want to see Intune for Education work. But it is a great way to manage all your devices, especially in K through 12. It's a super lightweight skin that we put on top of Intune. If you're using Intune for Education, you're not getting cheated out of Intune. You still got the big Intune, but you have this skin version of Intune for Education that maybe lets you democratize your deployment a little bit and hand that off to other folks. So Intune for Education really is this lightweight thing that really helps you manage your classroom devices in a super fast way. And then with the student benefit, you see comes with A3 and A5. There is no student benefit, obviously, A1 is free. And so you can see the different things that go in with the student benefit there. The Minecraft for Education with A3 and A5, and then your servers and CALs. So I know this is a bit of an eye chart, but I just think it's very cool to see all the things you get in all the different plans, and it helps you kind of assess where you need to be. So for resources, check out Microsoft Education documents, Microsoft Documents, I think, docs.microsoft.com. That's what it is, docs.microsoft.com. And that'll help you Not so much with the licensing stuff, but any kind of deployment stuff, Intune for education, things like that. And then we have a bunch of different related content for you, other sessions, breakout sessions for you all this week. We have Meeting the Challenges of Modern IT Management for Schools. That's tomorrow, I think just upstairs. And then that'll be around, we'll show you Intune there. We'll show you some devices. We'll talk about SDS, if you guys are familiar with SDS. That's a free service that comes with Office 365 and Microsoft 365, which allows you to connect your student information system right to Office 365. And that creates things like groups, which, not things like groups, it creates groups based on teachers, students, schools, classes, enrollment. It really just copies what you have in your SIS and brings it into Office 365. So that really lights up things like Teams, so that the teacher doesn't have to go in there and input the students in Teams. It lights up things like OneNote Class Notebook. If you've never seen OneNote Class Notebook, it's one notebook for the teacher and all the students in the class. It'll automatically set that up. It'll give attributes, like I mentioned, of who's who in the zoo and what classroom they belong to, right? So we'll talk about all that tomorrow in that session. Then there's a session on Teams, OneNote, Forms, and Flipgrid on Thursday. Also on Thursday, we'll have a What's New in EDU update around Teams and Office 365 education. And then on Friday, a little bit deeper on what I was talking about, transforming classroom time with Microsoft Education. That'll be another session around Teams and OneNote and what teachers can do inside the classroom. That's more K through 12 focused than higher ed. And then those theater sessions are going on this week as well. Please visit us at the booth, 313 in the Modern Workplace section. We have devices there. We have demos. We can also answer your Q&A. So, well, we'll answer the Q. We'll give you the answer. It'll be your Q, our A. So if anybody, I'll put myself on the spot here and see if I can answer your questions. If anybody has any questions, and then jump on the microphone if you don't mind.
Within our tenant, we see something called education resources. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so education resources are open resources that teachers can leverage. And I don't know a lot of the technical part of it, but really what it is, it's standards-based content that teachers can leverage. And we just launched it just recently. I think it's in preview right now. But the idea being that a teacher can go and, through education resources, look for content specific to that standard and then push that out to their students. Very, very K through 12, not so much higher ed.
From the comparison slide
that
show the comparison of A1, A3, and A5. I think some information mistakes on the operating system. In the M365 education website, you shows A1 plan also has the operating system, Windows 10, A1.
Microsoft 365 A1?
Yeah.
So Microsoft 365 A1, I didn't talk about it here, but I can. And maybe this is wrong, but this is, so the slide I showed was Office 365. There is a Microsoft 365 A1 plan. It's a little bit different than this in that it's a device-based plan, right? So you buy a device, you get Microsoft 365 A1, and this is really for, and I don't know the size of your schools or your institutions, it's really for like smaller schools. When you buy a Windows 10 device, you get the Windows 10 license, you get Office 365, and you get Intune for education for the life of that device. And so if you're purchasing Microsoft A3 or Microsoft A5, you get, you don't need that Microsoft A1 365 A1 when you buy the device. This A1 that's on here is Office 365 A1. So if you buy, if you are buying devices separately and you don't have Microsoft A3, then go ahead and buy Microsoft A1 because that gives you the management on top of that device. And it's a device, you buy it for the life of that device. So it's not you get all the users you need for Office 365, you get all the users you need for that you can use for that device, but it's based on that device.
Same slide. What do you mean by productivity server license, or what's covered by that? Bottom.
So that is a little bit of legacy, is what that is. So if you have your old Office licenses that you were using on premises, it gives you those rights to those things. And I don't know exactly what that is, but I just know that customers needed that. And so they threw the legacy licenses, the servers, the CALs, the productivity license, which is Office, into A3 and A5.
So that doesn't cover like server products, like Server 2019 or anything like that?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Hi, we switched from A3 to A5 this year because we want to take advantage of some of the ATP features. But with the new tenant now, we used to have unlimited in A3. Now it's a specific number in A5. So we're kind of challenged with, for email protection, we can't use ATP for everybody because there's more people than what's in the A5 license. Are you running into that?
I have not run into that. Let me look into that because that's the student benefit we're talking about, right? Where you should be able to give them the unlimited ATP protection.
Yep.
All right. Can I get your name after the thing? And then yeah, are you? So you guys have all seen that? Okay. I have not come across that. So let me think about how I can get you guys the word out on that. Any other questions over here?
Can you explain where stream is in the plan?
I'm sorry?
A stream, where that is in the plan. Is it
The video stream? Yeah, it's in there. Where did I see that? Was A3 video, voice video? It's probably not on the Office 365 video, so it's a little outdated. But Office 365 video is stream, right? So that's in here. So it's inside. It's not in A1, but it's in A3 and A5. Any other questions?
Is it still have Windows 10 Education Edition, or it's now only Enterprise Edition?
No, it's Education Edition.
Okay.
In these licenses. Does it say Pro? Does it say?
Before the slide before it says Enterprise Edition.
Okay.
With M365.
No, it's education.
Education.
It's education. Anything else? Oh, yes, sir.
On your, I remember Delve. Is that moving to A5? I thought that was available on previous.
No, it's available. That's available. I don't know if it's listed on there, but that's available with A3 and A5.
On analytics, it shows Delve.
Delve Analytics is an A5 thing.
That's a different.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That's like gives you insights and analytics to how your organization is interacting with each other. That's what Delve Analytics is. Anything else? I'll just put this last slide up if you guys wouldn't mind quickly either giving me an evaluation either through the app or they got the QR code out there. But if there aren't any other questions, one more? Oh, the booth it's what did I say? Down at the bottom, 313. It's right by Theater 12, if you know where Theater 12 is, in the Modern Workplace section. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Have a great week.